The North East Property Forum has held a general election special where property agents from across the region presented their key manifesto wishes to the Darlington candidates from the three main political parties. The forum, which is hosted by the Northern Echo in collaboration with Latimer Hinks solicitors, also gave members the opportunity to question the Conservative, Labour and Liberal Democrat representatives about how their parties would reinvigorate the residential and commercial property market.
I was impressed at the way they actually answered the questions and didn't just quote from their manifestos, but they actually did engage with the questions that were asked. Home information packs are a sore point and perhaps may be abolished. Empty rates on business properties is a very sore point and a big disincentive to a lot of development. The planning system is a sore point. It's too expensive and time consuming to even make a planning application these days for a small developer, and that needs to be addressed. The stamp duty land tax was discussed, but I think there's possibly not a lot of mileage in doing much there. So it was a good discussion, and the candidates I thought were all very straightforward and attempted to answer the questions.
We're going to get rid of the HIPs. We're going to obviously raise the stamp duty threshold, and unlike Labour, we're going to make it permanent to get more lower income families on the housing ladder or first time buyers on the housing ladder. And we also need to encourage, through legislation if necessary, banks to lend money to those in order to get on the housing market.
Well, as I see it, the key to getting this housing market in Darlington continuing to reinvigorate itself, which I think it has started to do already, is to keep the economy stable. And I think we need to be very, very careful about withdrawing support for the economy, particularly in the North East, in the current climate. The big dangers are around increases in mortgage rates. You know, mortgage rates are at a historic low, and we need to keep it that way for the time being, and as long as we possibly can.
I think what we need to do is get the banks and building societies lending sensibly again. They've benefited from a lot of public money to keep them afloat, and now it's time that they repaid society and started lending sensibly to people, not to the excessive degree that they lent during the Labour government for the last few years, which caused excessive house price inflation, but sensibly at a level that people can afford to repay.
I think the key issue is to refinance the market. It's about getting banks to lend again. We have seen signs of them lending, but quite clearly not enough to stimulate people to go out and purchase property.
I haven't heard any of the major candidates turn around and say, we will do the following to help the property market, kick-start again. So I think the general public's quite confused, and it's a difficult question to answer. The most important thing is that to start the market, first-time buyers need to raise money to put down as a deposit. They haven't got that money, so the suggestion of possibly some interest-free loan which could act as a deposit to help them purchase a property, I think would be a good start.
There was a feeling, I think, amongst our panel that there was not enough in the various manifestos from the parties to talk about the housing industry, because we're talking about an industry here that puts, £250 billion into the British economy every year. Now that's very substantial, and it's a real driver for the future. So I think, they've all got to take some of the things that have come out of today's meeting back to party headquarters and start doing their sums again, really.